Hi, I'm Fran Spielman. I'm the City Hall reporter for the Sun-Times, and we're here today to hear Mayor Emanuel articulate the route for the proposed Red Line extension from 95th Street to 130th. The mayor campaigned on this in 2011. He has got to show progress some kind of way in this filling this transit desert. That's what it is. It's a mass transit desert. You cannot get from the city limits to where you want to go if you've got a job north. And so this is a major problem. The deal is, though, there's no money. It's a $2.3 billion project, and the mayor himself just earlier this week talked about how the Trump administration really has no plan, no realistic plan for infrastructure. The state hasn't had a capital plan in about 10 years. So the question then becomes, where is the money to fund this project? It's nice to have a route, but where's the money? I covered Mayor Jane Byrne, and she must have announced the Orange Line project, I think 17 times during her campaign. Mayors love to make these kinds of announcements. In this case, the fact that the route is along the UP tracks and there are going to be 4 stations, the general route has been known for some time. This is a former body shop where I guess the 103rd Street station would be. Totally, I think it's 154 properties, 79 buildings. This one is vacant. There's a lot of vacant lots. So this route was chosen to minimize the disruption. But there are details here, particularly the funding, how much the property owners will be compensated, etc., that are not here. But mayors love to make announcements like this. It helps them politically. Now the mayor, this comes against the backdrop of the mayor trying desperately to rebuild the trust of black voters who elected him in 2011, forgave him for closing 50 schools, and then were furious at him for his handling of the Laquan McDonald shooting video. So this, again, has political implications, whether or not it ever happens. The question is, if he can't show the funding, how can it help him? Politically, will this help the mayor? The fact that he's trying to show some kind of progress on a project where he promised in 2011.
I think that as we come up to an election year, anything that you can show that you're doing to keep your promises and to bring development into underserved areas is a great thing. So yes, the bottom line is yes, I think that it will help. I think that the 95th Street station renovation, a new station there will also help.
On either side of the road?
On this side.
Oh,
that side.
Okay. This is a historic, no more talking. It's a first, this is a down payment on the first step in the journey of getting these 4 stations open and making sure that the residents of Pullman, West Pullman rather, the residents of Roseland and the residents of Washington Heights and Riverdale participate in the economy. This is our goal, to have one city with one future. If you can look at the strength and power and the opportunities that Chicago offer, but you cannot get there, we're not going to be the city we can be. And transportation is key to that. Now, having modernized the Red Line, and we'll have the topping off, I think, in about 6 weeks or so for the 95th Street station, this is the proper thing to do now to plan, prepare, and do all the engineering work and environmental work for the exact effort that is the extension. We actually have secured the resources for actually the engineering and the environmental studies. The second part is that's the primary and fundamental work. Second is, when I talked about in the past, like Red Line South, etc., we went off and got the resources. We're going to need the state to be a partner, the federal to be a partner, and the city will be a partner. And in fact, if you look at New Blue, you look at the Red Line South, you look at RPM red-purple modernization, we have secured funds all along the route, and that's exactly what we intended to do. I would note to you that had President Trump actually not disturbed the meeting with the mayors, we were actually all supposed to go meet on actually an infrastructure bill and a transportation bill. It is my hope also, I've talked to the Speaker and the Senate President about a transportation bill there. We're going to put the resources together And the one thing is, we're not just talking about it. We have an $8.5 billion capital that we've done to actually prove we're worthy of our word, because we've done it exactly in this. Derek? I called on. If you say it one more time and I'll hear you. Fran, I hear you. We're going to talk about making sure that the federal and state partners are a part of this, and we're going to look at, so we have multiple different ways of funding it, and I'm not going to tell you yet, because this is the first step, is the engineering and environmental studies that we actually have $100 million, or nearly $100 million for. Derek?
How difficult will it be?
Well, what we learned today was that the mayor wants the people of the far south side to know that this is a big step. The question is, will it really be a big step? He says he has some creative ideas to fund this project. It might be some kind of a puzzle that he pieces together with state and federal money, and perhaps some creative new national solution, we don't know. But the point being, he wants people to believe that he is making progress on something that has been talked about for decades, literally since Richard J. Daley. We'll see.